think about this story, I think about the reality that Adam was given a very clear set of instructions. You know, he's supposed to be tending to the garden, of course, doing his work, but he also supposed to be making sure that anybody eating that tree now. Because, I mean, truthfully, God didn't actually tell Eve not to touch that tree. God told Adam not to touch that tree. And I know we live in a society now that says, well, you know, there's a feminist type thing, and I know we're talking about the gay agenda and some of the other things we're going to talk about today, but the reality is, from the beginning of time, God put us in a very specific place of headship and leadership, and I think some of what we're dealing with is we're running from it. We hide from it, or we're sitting right beside our wives and our daughters and our sisters, and we're not doing the things that we're supposed to do, and so things start unraveling, and we go from 25%, and in one generation, almost 75%. So when I think about it, I'm like, well, what should we be doing as men? Like, when we think about manhood, what should we be thinking about when we think about man? First and foremost, a real man, a godly man, right, controls his emotions and his passions. Now we can chop that up in a whole lot of different ways, whether it be your desire to be with a woman, but don't have no desire to be responsible for what comes after that, or some of the frustration that we might be going through, and we got these emotions flaring up. Next thing you know, you're putting your hands on this woman. All that stuff leads to a problem. A real man controls his emotions and his passions, right?
You know, I'm a granddad. My grandson here, his mom is raising him, and doing a dynamic job. But I thank God that I have been placed in the equation. But how many of them out there don't have that blessing?
Right,
because
right.
That's all it is. It's a blessing.
That's it.
You know, I've raised two, and to me, man, what a blessing it is to take this clay and shape it and mold it. But you know, this just happens to be biological. But there are so many that it doesn't have to be biological. That I don't care if it is my son. This is his best friend. I wanted to bring him so that he can hear, what's happening, so that they can take that knowledge back and drive on. But think about those 72%. Think about those 72%. You look at the news, WSB, every time it comes on, man, it just sickens me. To see these young brothers, and they get younger and younger and younger, carrying.
Mass incarceration. What does incarceration mean? Imprisonment, confinement, you're in custody, captivity, internment, detention. But my mind says that we are African Americans, not African Americans. Reverse psychology says, how do I avoid that? Incarceration, the opposite of incarceration is what? Freedom.
It's part of the Willie Lynch thing is to break you down to take your identity from you. Some guys come with dreads, some guys come with fades. Everybody look the same when they wake up that next morning. And it's called classical condition because these white folks, they treat us like lab rats. These cell phones that they're giving away, that's a program they put together just trying to see what you're talking about.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? This food stamps, all this stuff is created to keep us from learning who we are. Right. You know what I'm saying? So it's called classical conditioning, man. But the end right here, the prison issues, man, is while I was in there, man, it's all about what you do with your time. You know what I'm saying? I read books. I worked out. You know what I'm saying? When I got to the halfway house, I got into college. I was the only guy in the halfway house in college. You can ask Trump.
I'm one of my brothers there, y'all.
You know what I'm saying? I got 2 classes left. I have a bachelor's degree in business. You know what I'm saying?
I want to say every father or every man here, you guys are awesome. I mean, you guys are doing something I wish men did when I was small. I grew up, you know. I grew up without a father. There were no men who was willing to do what you guys are doing today. Well, whoever was in my life didn't push me in the direction. So I was a lost little boy. All the little boys here, all the children, these are lucky children. Not even lucky. I don't even believe in luck. Blessed. Let's say blessed.
Yeah.
You know, to have men, you guys, and Damon, you putting together something like this is awesome. This is awesome. This heals my heart. This is what we're doing allows me to heal myself. You know, and I try to avoid another child from going through what I went through. So young men, you could be anywhere you want to be today, but today here, you're going to remember this day for the rest of your life.
We have to go back and recapture our role. First, understand your role, recapture, and then exercise your role as a man. That's it. That's the solution to everything we talked about today. Understand, first identify what you are or who you are as a man, your role, your responsibilities, then go out and exercise that. Exercise that. That's the solution to a lot. We doing a lot of stuff that we talked about today. You know, and I look at you, brother, and I look at reactions. You know, being in a capacity of teaching or educating or training, for what I do is training mostly. I look at expressions and I look at reactions, and I see. It's almost like, you know, some of us can up here we see you all, and we can see that certain topics hit you personally. You know, and that's what we try to do. We try to reach out so we can say, hey, look here, when you thinking about this, think about that. You're not the only one. You know, and people have gotten through this. So it is a way. There are solutions. The thing is, you have to go out and just you gotta want to know how to do better. You know, you gotta want to know how to do better. You know, especially if something better has been introduced to you. If you don't know any better, you can't do any better. But if something been introduced to you, and I say that to say this, that the stuff that we put out here today, we all have been charged with a responsibility. If you didn't realize what you've been charged with today or before today, you know now. You've been charged with a responsibility that when you leave out of here, that you take the things that we talked about and you got to share with somebody else. All right? And then you have to make sure that that person that you share with, you kind of like he said plant a harvest. If you put a seed out there and don't put no water on it, it's going to die.
Right.
It's going to die. I tell everybody, when I talk to the young brothers, I say, if I shake your hand, I feel responsible for you. I might can't reach all of them, but I feel responsible for you. I might can't be in your life actively, but I feel responsible for you. So when I shake your hand, I want to leave you with something.